Hello historians, welcome to part 3 of the Unit 5.11 notes. Now that we've talked about what the world power countries and the minor power countries wanted from the PPC, let's go ahead and talk about what the colonies wanted. Now, whether you were a colony of the Allied powers that won World War I, or you were a colony of the Central powers that lost World War I, all colonies basically wanted the same thing. They wanted self-determination. They wanted that freedom from bully countries that Woodrow Wilson was promising them in his 14 points document. Some examples of the colonies invited to the PPC were China, India, and Vietnam. These colonies wanted their freedom, but one of the huge problems was that their bullies didn't want to let them go. Their bullies are going to go to the PPC and basically demand that they be able to keep these victims. The victims are going to go to the PPC and are going to demand freedom. So we can see that the colonies aren't necessarily getting along with the minor or world powers at the PPC. Some people who went to the PPC didn't even have a country and are asking for a country now. So for example, people who were Jewish, which is a religion, people who were Arabic, which is a cultural ethnicity, and people who were Slavs, who are also a cultural ethnicity, these people didn't have like a specific country that was theirs. They kind of lived in different countries that would take them in, or they lived in different victim countries, but they didn't have their own united independent country. And so these homeless people are pretty much going to also go to the PPC. Remember that the Slavs, they want the country of Yugoslavia. They currently don't have Yugoslavia. Slavs kind of live all over Europe, either in Russia or Serbia or in other parts of the Balkan Peninsula. And so they're going to go to the PPC and they're really going to push and demand for their independent own country to be created. Now, Germany. Germany. What does Germany want? Well, many Germans still can't believe that they lost World War I. They can't believe that they have lost a ton of soldiers and a ton of territory. They can't believe that at the PPC documents are being written for the war to finally end. And because they can't believe this, they're kind of like ignoring and refusing to recognize that they lost World War I. They are pretty much also saying that signing the Time Out Agreement, signing the armistice, was not them showing that they wanted to end the war. It was pretty much them just saying, hey, we need a quick timeout, but we do plan on coming back to World War I. So they're saying the armistice and the treaties and the PPC are not important, don't matter. They want to jump back into World War I. The German delegates, the German government officials, are collecting documents and other pieces of proof that they can hopefully take to the PPC to show that Germany should not be fully blamed by itself for World War I. Pretty much the German government kind of knows that at the PPC, France and Great Britain want German blood. And so they're very worried that if they don't get this evidence and proof, that they're going to be fully slapped with 100% of the blame. And so they're going to try to find anything in every document they can to kind of show that Austria-Hungary should be blamed too, that Serbia should be blamed, that other countries should be blamed. The German government officials are also really counting on Woodrow Wilson. They're really hoping that this dreamer, this eternal peace lover, that when he comes to the PPC, he'll be able to really convince the PPC government delegates that fairness and peace and kindness should be used to close out the war. Now, at the same time in Germany, while the regular people are refusing to accept that Germany lost World War I, and while the German government is heading off to the PPC, hopefully with good enough documents to prove their country should not be punished, at the same time, there's this political governmental chaos happening in Germany. There is a radical group of people that is starting to form, and this radical group of people is basically a group of people who believe in violence, who believe in extreme actions to get what they want. And this radical group of people are basically coming out and saying, hey, if the PPC decides to fully punish us, Germany, if the PPC decides to put all the blame on us, if the PPC decides to try to ruin us when the war ends, then we, this new radical group, we will come in, we will gain power of the country, we will restore German pride, we will not follow the Treaty of Versailles, we will not follow the PPC. Don't worry, if the PPC creates an unfair end to World War I, we, this radical group, we will fix it and we will stand up for our country, Germany. Now, not everybody likes this radical group. Some German people are scared that this radical group in Germany, if it refuses to listen and follow the PPC and TOV, some Germans fear this radical group could cause another world war. Some people like this radical group. Some people believe, yeah, finally we're getting that strong, determined, violent government in Germany that's willing to stand up for us. This radical group of Germans is different from the current German government that is on their way to the PPC. The current German government on their way to the PPC, taking these documents of proof, they are going and they're willing to follow and listen to the PPC and follow the TOV because they want World War I to stop, but they want to make sure that the war ends in a fair way against Germany. This bottom group is pretty much saying, you know what? We are not going to the PPC, and if the PPC fails us, if the PPC tries to basically force us to swallow this unfair treaty that's going to strangle us, then we will rise up and we'll do something about it. And we'll actually learn in unit number 7, World War II, we'll learn that Adolf Hitler is part of this radical group against the PPC and against the TOV. We've come to the end of the podcast lecture notes. Your next assignment before you start the exit ticket is to watch this video, World War I, How Did It End? And you need to visit Google Classroom, and in the space provided in your notes for How Did It End, you need to jot down 4 key takeaways that you learned from this review video. Once you're done with this review video, you also need to jump into the second video, World War I, The Effects. This link is also on Google Classroom, and in the space provided for this video, you also need to jot down 4 key takeaways. Now, in order to watch the videos, you need to click on the Google Classroom links. Once you're done watching both videos and jotting down your 4 key takeaways, you can then go ahead and start your exit ticket.